Okay, what up, people? It's your boy Chid from Gooner Eagle Eye coming to you again with a brand new video. And I've got some special guests with me for this brand new video. It's to talk about Arsenal versus Stoke. And let me introduce the guests I have with me. That'll be a good idea, right? So finally, first guest I've wanted to get on my show for a very, very, very long time. I pleaded her, I begged her. I pleaded at her again, and she finally said, all right then, I'll come on. The Princess of Gooners, Amanda's on the show. Say hello to the people, Amanda.
Hello. Of course I come on. Hello, how are you?
How are you? You all right?
I'm good, thank you. Can you hear me, though?
Yeah, ish. You know, people are going to bitch about it later, but we'll just press on.
Yeah, that bitch about me anyway.
And someone else I've wanted on the show for a long time, because I've listened to his show for a very long time. One of the very first podcasts I started listening to that actually made me want to do this, and that's Mike from the Gooners in the USA. So say hello to the people, Mike.
Hello, and I'm blown away by that. I actually had no idea that you were one of our early users, as we call them. And I mean, if we gave you influence to do this, then A, you're crazy, and B, I'm glad to hear that. So, and I've decided to do all of your viewers a favor, because my webcam isn't working today, so I'm pulling like a Drew Thompson right now, and you're just going to see our logo instead of my face. You are welcome.
Hey, it's good promotion for your show. It's good promotion for your show. For all those people thinking, hold up, I thought Lee was supposed to be here. Lee's running late. If you're wondering why my show sometimes is late, it's because of Lee. So he'll come eventually. But he said to me,
"There's a shock. Lee's late."
So,
I'll be telling him off when he turns up.
So, you guys, Amanda, let's start with you. It's been the international break. It's been kind of boring, hasn't it? What have you been doing during the international break?
You mean the interdole? Yes.
Sure. I mean, gosh.
I feel like it's like the start. It's been weeks and weeks and weeks already of like no football. I said this like on the podcast I'm on, Green Hills, that boring. I don't like international football anyway. I watch like Brazil and Portugal and France and all that. I'm not that bothered about England, but I just can't wait to get back. We've got probably 4 days, haven't we? It's like ages.
It feels like a long time because we didn't play the weekend before, and then it was international break, and then we have to wait all the way till Sunday before we actually play that flipping game. So it does really feel like it's been a while.
This has got to be the longest break in between 2 games that Arsenal's had in the modern Europe era.
Effectively, it's like a winter break, right?
I mean, almost 3 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. How about yourself, Mike? What have you been doing over the international break?
One thing I haven't been doing is I have not watched any football over this break.
Me neither. Yeah.
You know, I usually do. I like the international football. I like to, I mean, the USA games, forget about it. There's just nothing in it for me at this point. We're not going to Russia. We're playing Paraguay, and I mean, what's the point? And then the games I'd usually be interested in, France, England, all those games, it's been in the middle of the day. And frankly, I just got home from gallivanting around Europe and London, and for almost 3 weeks. So I kind of got hit hard by the catch-up thing with work. So the interlull has actually gone fairly quickly for me, but from an Arsenal standpoint, it's been pretty devoid of anything worth watching, or not even a whole ton of a lot of news, but I'm sure the news that has come up we'll be getting to in a little bit. Did one podcast over the weekend with some of the people that I spent some time with in London, and just had a real laugh. I mean, it was a good trip. We're supposed to end with a game against Leicester in Leicester. There's Lee, but of course that got postponed, and I missed out on it. So here we are.
Okay. Wow. And Lee, welcome to the show. late again, eh? What's going on?
I'm actually early, man. It was originally 7:30.
Oh, okay, cool. One of them. I'm not late because I get here when I mean to get here. Tom. Sorry.
Yeah. We'll wait for you, Lee. Don't worry. We'll wait for you.
YouTube and it just takes forever to upload videos these days. So yeah, that's what took so long. So sorry, I'm here now.
I would ask you what you've been up to on the international break, but then I saw your video that you dropped to your channel. Is that what you're doing in your secret?
Yeah,
in between rants, going to England matches. What's going on?
I got an invite to get a little bit of hospitality, so I was like, yeah, if it's free, I'm having it. and it was wicked, man. So yeah, I had a good time. And I'll be honest, I think the last time I watched an England match, I think we played Brazil like years ago in some sort of friendly or something. So yeah, I think it was actually in Milton Keynes, MK Dons Stadium. That's how long it might have been at the Emirates actually, but yeah, a long time ago. So yeah, I thought, yeah, cool. I'm going to go. I actually quite enjoyed it. Yeah,
you look like you did. You look like you had a very real good time. Okay, so let's before we go into the Arsenal versus Stoke game, let's talk about some things that have come up over the last week or so, shall we say. It's never a quiet one when Arsenal are concerned in terms of footballing news, whether it's players are being linked with, the managers claiming old people discriminating his age group. Amanda, what was your initial reaction to that when you heard that Wenger had come out and he basically said that anyone that wants him out of the job is discriminating against his age?
Okay, the one thing you need to learn about Arsene Wenger is the best deflector in the business. Like, what that's got to do with it is divert from the fact that he shouldn't be there anymore. And the fact that Alex Ferguson went on to God knows what age, I honestly think he just thinks there's something to say every week about why he's been there. I like one Arsene Wenger or AKB to come and explain to me what footballing reason he should still be there. I want him to leave with dignity. And I want him to live with respect. The longer this goes on, the less he will get of that. I just don't understand. I do think that he lives in Arsenal's world, to be honest. And, you know, I spoke about this on our pod a couple of nights ago, and I said he just deflects. That's why he divert. You know, someone can, it's nothing like Mourinho, just whack. Wenger is very, very clever. He's the best spin doctor. He should actually be a politician in my eyes.
We get all that?
I got some of it. Amanda, your internet is crazy. It's crazy. I'm not gonna lie.
Right, I'm gonna move. Hold on, this might help. You can come with me.
I feel your pain because I had this same problem a year ago. This exact same problem.
You're coming in my bedroom. Don't laugh.
See, Mike is now looking for stuff to laugh at. I want you to know that.
I'm looking for the stuff I left in there.
Yeah, you wish.
Amanda, you take 3 geezers into your bedroom on a Wednesday evening.
Oh, I've had worse offers, Lee. So, hold on. Is it any better or not?
It actually is. Actually,
it smells much better.
I'm obviously better in my bedroom.
Right. So, do you want to repeat the end of that for the people? Because that's where it starts to get really nice.
Oh, what bit did you get to?
So I got to basically you saying he should just leave with you wanted him to leave with dignity, and then it kind of
right, okay. Yeah, I want him to leave with dignity and respect, and the longer this goes on, the less he's going to have a chance of doing that. And he's the best spin doctor on the planet, and I feel that he should be a politician because he never actually answers the questions. I actually met him about, I think it's about 5 years ago now. I was mesmerised. I wasn't Arsene Wenger out then. I was on the fence, as they say, but I was mesmerised by him. Absolutely, completely mesmerised.
Oh, okay. By the way, he is 1,000% better, by the way.
What'd you say?
It's 1,000% better, by the way.
It's there in Amanda's bedroom. That can be the tagline.
Sorry, Mike, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, I was going to agree with Amanda because I had a Wenger moment a few years ago when the team came to California in the preseason. We were sitting in a restaurant near where the club's hotel was, and all of a sudden someone points out there he is walking down the street. And so, of course, I just put all shame away and ran up and asked him for a selfie, and I couldn't get my phone to work, so he was pretty patient. So the picture of us on our website, on the Gooners and USA website, is of me with Arsene Wenger, and I posted on Facebook. I was like, at the time there were all these things to talk about. Are we going to sign Mahrez? Are we going to sign anybody? What's going on? And all I could think was just to stand there and say thank you to the guy. I mean, he is. And I know Lee might have a different opinion.
I know. Believe me, I'm coming to Lee in a second because I can see him burst.
He's weeping his face.
I can see him bursting to say something.
Listen.
Wait, hold fire, Lee.
Listen. For your listeners and viewers who don't know my position, it's overdue that he needs to leave. I too, like Amanda, want him to leave with dignity, but I think he is throwing that in the bin. He's thrown it in the bin, and at this point, it just needs to happen sooner than later. I don't like seeing him get disrespected, and I don't like seeing him getting cunted off like he has been. But he's really there's fewer and fewer people to blame for that other than himself. I'm just saying, when I ran into him, it was a little bit of shell shock, and all I could think of to say was thank you and take a smiling picture with him. But yeah, this age discrimination element, I forget who said it, so I'm not taking credit for this, but I mean, wasn't it him who had a 30-year-old rule?
Exactly.
And it just seems a little convenient for him to be talking about his age in all of this when it really, if he were, Ferguson was older than he was or around the same age, but he had just come off a league title. Mm-hmm. He wasn't too old, and I don't think Arsene's too old. He's just too stubborn and old-fashioned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. It's got nothing to do with his age. It's just he just doesn't have it anymore. At some point,
if you're older and you can evolve, that's fine. But if you're older and you're stuck in the 1990s,
yeah,
not so much.
I agree.
Typical bloke, stubborn. That's what I'm going to say. Stubborn. If I'm not going to swear, I'm determined not to swear.
You're determined not to swear. By the way, people, I've given her free reign to swear. So if she's not swearing, I don't know.
I'm a nice girl.
It's not me.
She's going to say dirty things in her bedroom tonight.
I've had 3 men in here for a while. Carry on. Come on. Let Lee rant about Wenger because he's dying.
So people are going to demand it, so I'm going to unleash Lee now. So Lee, you've heard Amanda talk about, how when she met Arsene Wenger, she was, at least at the time, she was very respectful. You've heard Mike talk very respectfully about him. The man has an aura, doesn't he?
Not when I met him, he didn't. I've met him twice this season. Yeah, I see him. I was at Stamford Bridge, and he was literally a foot in front of me, and I just told him straight, leave, get out the club. While he's standing there signing autographs for everyone else, I was like, get out, Wenger out, get out, leave. Listen, if I'm going to spout it, and I'm going to believe that, I understand that, and it's not a dig at you two either, by the way, yeah? Because I had this conversation last night, funny enough, with somebody else. But when you're in front of somebody, you're like, oh, shit, it's Arsene Wenger. Yeah? And a lot of people like, wow, it's Arsene Wenger. And then it's like, I can't really slag him off, he's an old man. Yeah? Whereas I'm just like, no. I'm just, if I'm going to say it and I see him, I'll say it to his face. That's how I am. But I get why you both did that. But yeah, I see him at Stamford Bridge, I told him. And then when we played Red Star Belgrade at the Emirates, he pulled up. And
Lee, can I ask you a question? No, even I don't actually know, genuinely. When did he lose that with you in particular?
2004.
8-2 against...
8-2.
I'll be honest, I was 8-2 really peed me off. Yeah, like really peed me off. But I think that the final nail was selling Van Persie to
Okay.
Man United. So
that's when he completely lost his aura.
Yeah, that's when I was gone. I was fully gone, and like I was just like, enough's enough now. And the thing is, like, I get why people say he should leave with his dignity and he should leave with respect and all that. It's gone way past that for me. I couldn't give two fucks what he leaves as. Yeah, for me, I think he's done more harm than good. Because, and I know I've said this on here before, but I think that what he has done is completely lose a generation of fan. Yeah, and then a generation of fan that are supporting Arsenal now that have only supported, and this ain't tarring all of them with this brush, but have only supported through the Arsene Wenger era. They're all happy not winning. There's Arsenal fans that have never seen us win a league title. Yeah, but they will still back him because that's what sucked them in, was the fact that he was this great manager. So I'll go and support Arsenal, because all the kids, when you're little, you go and support the team that are winning. Well, that's how most kids do it. The amount of Chelsea and Man City fans I see now that are young kids, we've lost all of them because we weren't winning. So for me, that's killed a future generation by him just blagging it for 10, 15 years now. So I think that's going to cause a massive issue later down the road. Plus all the spin that Amanda said, he just waffles absolute rubbish, blaming the fans, blaming everything along the way apart from himself. And I've just had enough of him, mate. And like, I think he's done. Yes, it was great that he's won a couple of titles, 3 titles. It's great he's won the FA Cups and all that. But when you actually dissect it and analyse it properly, the team he inherited was the best back 5, including the goalkeeper in the country. Yeah, that wasn't being used properly. So, you know, he fell on his feet with that. We had Bergkamp, we had Wright, we had Parler, you know, and then he inherited. Yes, he went out and scouted them, or David Dean scouted them, but he inherited the golden generation of French football. Yeah? So, you know, and how we've never won back-to-back titles or never won a Champions League, when you actually look at his 22 years in charge, it ain't all that. That's how I'm looking at it. You know, Ferguson won 3 titles in a row.
But I think, Lee, the difference is I met him 5 years ago, not 5 months ago, and I think I would be different.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be as disrespectful as you know that.
I didn't swear
I
at him.
probably would say
something. I never swore at him. I just told him.
That's good. You know, I would have touched you off, right? But I feel that if I met him now, I think things would be different. I first of all wouldn't want to appear with him or anything, which I did 5 years ago. And I think what is to him is, we want you to leave dignity. Your time's right. Go to or London, wherever. I would be nicer than you, but the sentence, the same. You know, I get what you're saying, everything, and and I know it's with me on this. The time has come. I feel most people do feel like this now. Is that me? Oh.
Yeah. No, that was my fault. Sorry.
All right.
I was wondering what that was. But, you know, to be fair, when I did meet him, I wasn't Wenger out, and it wasn't such a massive thing. It was the week of Fabregas possibly coming back. That's how long ago it was. And I remember saying to him, when is he coming back? And he spun it all. I was in like a Q&A and asked quite a few questions. But he has got something about him. He's got that charisma. But what you're saying, Lee, is right. He just comes from a you know, you can't blame them for not having that. I don't care what anyone says. You know, I've supported that club over 40 odd years. You lot all support the club years as well. We just want what's best, and we want to win. No one wants anything different. You know, we're all the same. We may go about it in a different way. Be disrespectful. It's just not my nature. But as I said, I would be different now if I met him, for sure.
Would you tell him Wenger out to his face?
I would say to him, Lee. I would say. I wouldn't go up and go Wenger out. I would
that's Lee right there. That Lee would be that guy.
Yeah, Lee. If I was there, I would have held Lee back. But I'm just saying, I would be.
Do you know
I would be respectful, Lee.
I was stood right next to Troops. I said, right, I've got to tell him. Yes, I've got to tell him. When I told him, he went, "You're savage." I was like,
yeah, that's the word, savage.
Isn't there video of some of you guys coming up to this car window on the way out? And I mean, that maybe a year or two ago when he drove out the stadium. And
Mike, turn your mic down. Whatever you've just done, you've come in like a balloon.
Yeah, but you know that's how I do it, though.
Lee, do you have headphones, by the way? Because you're quite faint.
Me? I can get headphones, yeah, but it means I have to unplug my phone. It's on charge, so I can only plug the headphones in where the charger is.
No worries. I'll see if I can boost you up my side. I'll see if I can do it my side.
Please have one down.
I was going to say.
I'm sorry for anyone listening to this back on playback. Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, okay. So let's talk about Mr. Thomas Tuchel, who every single hour, it seems like my phone pops up with another bit of news about how he's going to PSG, how he prefers for us to go to, Bayern Munich, or now Bayern Munich don't want him and he prefers to go up to the Premier League. Mike, what do you make of this whole Thomas Tuchel thing?
I think it's the wrong time for any final decisions to be made, so I think it's just all a bunch of media speculation. None of it seems to really... on the one hand, it's almost a sure thing that it's been done. On the other hand, it doesn't seem like Arsene Wenger's anywhere close to leaving this summer. Then you hear people saying that, Allegri's been lined up. I mean, I kind of look at this moment in time the same way I do transfer gossip. A couple months before the transfer window, it's just meaningless to me at this point. Whether or not he'd be a good person to step in for Arsene Wenger or not, I've certainly heard a lot of people say that he's the wrong guy or the right guy in the wrong situation. Certainly there's history between him and Mislintat. And the problem with a guy like Tuchel is his name sounds too much like Tuchus. And as Amanda knows, you can't have a guy respected in the team if his name sounds like Tuchus. So
I think you need to explain Tuchus. Because no one's gonna know, Michael.
I'm sure that was very funny if we could have heard that what you said, but
Your internet is just trolling you right now.
It's the same issue with Joachim Low, because he's always scratching his Tuchus. So I mean, I don't know. I there are people I'd rather see come in.
Right, listen, Tuchus in bum in Yiddish. That's why you're saying it.
Oh, most people know that, I think, but it's not like plotting. But yeah, I mean, I think that there are people I'd rather see. I certainly don't know what the correct fit is. It's whoever the players are going to respond to. A different energy than what's there now, because they're clearly not responding directly to the type of motivation that Arsene Wenger is providing to them. I would tend to favor going the young approach, but not the young, inexperienced approach like an Arteta or even Thierry Henry. I like the Nagelsmann idea, but honestly, that's just out of thin air. I don't really know that much about him, and of course, Max Allegri seems like the perfect solution for us if he were to leave.
Yeah, which means we won't go for him because it's Arsenal.
Exactly. Or we'll dither and we'll wait around, and the same thing will happen with Allegri that happened with Pep.
Yeah, absolutely. Lee, I'm going to come back to you because I know you've got strong feelings on this. Amanda, how do you feel about the whole Thomas Tuchel story?
Lee's got strong feelings on this.
I know, it's a surprise, isn't it? It's a big shock. He's never nonplussed about anything. He's never sitting on the fence about anything.
I've never seen him shrug his shoulders before. That's just
not to any question. No question. If he doesn't know the answer, he'll make up it.
Lee's got an answer for everything.
Everything.
Thomas, how'd you say it? Tuchel?
Yeah, Tuchel.
You say
This is a good start. Yeah.
Oh. All I know is that he's fallen out with Mislintat. So why would he be coming?
That's what I don't understand. It
doesn't make sense. To be honest, though, you don't know a lot. I don't read the media. I don't see any rumour. I'm not interested. I don't believe anything anyway. Signed, and I see the banner on Sky Sports on my dad. I don't really discuss transfers. I'm no good in January because I don't discuss them. Because now I don't get him anyway. So breath.
Fair enough.
The magical bedroom has run its course.
I'm going to pretend I understood that.
The magic in the bedroom only lasts about 2 minutes, apparently.
2 minutes, I know.
Right, I'm moving again. Right.
All right, well, while Amanda moves,
It's better.
go on, say something. Is that any better?
You can't even see me. Is that any better?
It's better in that we can't see you, but we still can't hear you.
God, I was going to say.
All right.
Oh,
Well,
I don't know why. Sorry.
No, don't worry. We'll power through.
Do you want me to laugh? Would it be better?
Do you know what?
Why don't you leave and then come back?
Either that or go just audio, and who knows? You never know. It might improve just because it's just audio.
Oh right. Okay, hold on.
So while Amanda plays around with her internet connection.
That's me at Fulham. Oh my god, I didn't even know that picture was there. Is that any better?
So weirdly, that's so much better.
Is it? Good.
So much better. And I'm not saying it in a mic type of way. That actually sounds better.
Okay, good.
So, Lee, in terms of Thomas Tuchel or Mr. Blobby or anyone, what do you think of these stories?
They're the biggest load of rubbish I've ever heard. It's no coincidence that story got leaked to social media and the media in general, or was made up by whoever made it up, the day or two after these Arsene Wenger age discrimination comments came out. Do you know what I mean? And that's how the media works. Like, you know, they throw a story out there, and they see what traction it's getting, whether it's good or bad, and then they continue the story if it's good, discard it if it's bad. That's how it works. So it's a load of rubbish, mate. Listen, I'll be honest, I would take him, but like you said, I would take Mr. Blobby over Arsene Wenger right now. I would.
He actually would. But weirdly, Roy Hodgson is not as good as Mr. Blobby, according to me.
Mate, you would not want to get your gear out around Roy Hodgson, mate. You've seen that beak on him, Jesus Christ. Yeah, but not that I condone that, obviously. But but yeah, I'll be honest with you. Like, I would take anybody, and I'll tell you why I'd take anybody, because I think the players have sort of given up listening to him. Yeah, and listening to Wenger, I think they're bored of it as much as we're bored of it. And they go through it every single day. Yeah, we just hear him in a little clip here and a little clip there and a press conference here and a press conference there. They actually have to listen to this geezer every single day in training. Yeah, and I can imagine they're quite bored of it. So I think that pretty much...
And that's the thing. I mean...
And lift the team.
And that's the thing. I mean, even Ray Parlour, did he visit them the other day and commented and said that's literally the exact same training that he did in 2004.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And that was, 14 years ago, and they're still doing the same training methods. But, you know, that for me, it's going to be so nice the day he actually leaves, yeah, and the day it comes up that he's left the club, because for me, that's the beginning of a whole new chapter. And for me, I get my club back. That's how I'm looking at it. Because at the moment, we're being held to ransom by this geezer coming out with all sorts of waffle, like trying to put pressure on the board about age discrimination and all that rubbish. Yeah, but, you know, every single season there's another story or another thing that comes out of his mouth, which is sort of aiming at... I mean, for example, he used to talk about how we always got top four and judge me in May. Yeah. Now this season's one is judge me on my last 22 years. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, well, what about
22 years?
What about judging May? Like, what happened to that one then? That one's gone because we're sixth. Yeah?
Judge me in May 2004.
Yeah, that's all you want.
Yeah, that was the last time we were any good. But yeah, for me, I'll take anybody. Listen, if Tuchel was the manager, personally, he's not my first choice. I don't think he is good enough to take us to where I think we should be.
Neither do I.
if he did become the manager, I'd fully back him.
Me too. Yeah, me too. And I've said that. And I think that's where people get it confused, because I was arguing with about 8 different people on Saturday night. And I said, don't get me wrong. Like, if he becomes the manager, I'll support him. I'll back him. But don't tell me that there are not better options out there, because that's just ridiculous.
Mate, Ancelotti's at home in West London doing nothing. Why don't we phone him up and give him the job now? Do you know what I mean? Yeah, top drawer manager, mate. Top drawer. He's won everywhere he's been. He'll probably do it cheaper than Wenger's doing it, and he's got European pedigree. So I think that's a no-brainer. Yeah, I honestly do. But he's probably been lined up to go back to Chelsea. He's got a bit of unfinished business there, isn't he? Which is, you know, and let's be real, Conte's going in the summer, and I'll be shocked if he ain't gone in the summer. And Ancelotti's round the corner. So. But for me, Ancelotti is the first pick. Give him the job. Give I don't know, a Vieira or an Henry the assistant job. Put Ancelotti on a 3-year contract. Train Henry or Vieira up in that 3 years. Do a nice little swift handover in 3 years' time. You know? But what do I know? I'm just a numpty salesman.
You said it.
So, I didn't want to say that.
I'm crossing that off my talking points right now.
So, all right, Lee, as we're still with you, let's go into the Stoke game. How are you feeling about it generally?
Confident. I'm really confident.
Maybe that's because we've had nearly... I'll say that.
Yeah, but maybe that's because we've had nearly 3 weeks without seeing the team play. I don't know, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it, mate. It'd be nice to get back to watching Arsenal again. Yeah, because like as much as I enjoyed myself last night, it's a completely different tempo of football. It's so slow. It'd be nice to see some decent football, hopefully. But with that being said, let's not write Stoke off. They're fighting for their lives. And I will absolutely wet myself if they get relegated. I will wet myself, yeah, because like all the crap they've given over the Ramsey incident, and booing him, and like, you know, the fans have been a bit of a disgrace over it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So
I must admit,
if they ended up relegated.
I don't normally have anything against any team getting relegated, but I'm 100% with you. I'll enjoy that shit so much if they go down. Not even for the team. For the flipping fans that always boo Ramsey for what? For having his leg broken. All right, classy club.
But the thing is, if you add into that, do you remember that image that still goes around the internet now of Charlie Adam choke holding Alexis Sanchez?
Yeah.
You know, that sort of sums up their club, mate. And
although I would like to see that again.
The thing is, I don't really dislike any football clubs, and I don't really dislike any set of fans or anything normally, right? Because it ain't that deep, is it? Come on, it's a game of football, it's banter, but at the same time, I would crease if they get relegated, because if they do get relegated, they ain't coming back. Yeah,
that'd be good. We don't want Stoke back.
Yeah, they'd drop again. They'd go down to League One.
Good. Good riddance to bad vermin.
Go on, Amanda. How are you feeling about the Stoke game?
How dare they treat Ramsey in the way they treated him? He was the one that was severely injured. So I'm sorry, I've got no sympathy. The way they did Wenger, the way they disrespected fans, the way they used to I couldn't stand it. There's nothing about I like, I'm afraid. Nothing.
Fair play. And I can't disagree with any of this. Mike, go on, round us off. How are you feeling about the Stoke game going into it?
Well, as far as my feelings about the game, I have a history of being pessimistic and pessimistic because I'd rather be pleasantly surprised than chopped off of my high horse. And last season, the point at which I got most confident about how well we were playing was right before the Everton game. It was a midweek game, and I go on our pod and predict us to win 6-1, and we lose badly. Up there. So, that taught me a lesson that I should just continue to be pessimistic. But Stoke, man, I mean, they're just diabolical at this point. So we have a chance. There's what, 8 games left in the Premier League season? They may even only have 7 left. And they're a point off of or 2 points off of 17th place, we can kind of put not the final nail in their coffin, but make it real hard for them to climb out of that relegation zone. And I'm with all three of you. I mean, I would wet Lee if I see them go down as well. Lee doesn't even need to wet himself.
You won't, Mike, but thanks for the warning.
What did you say you do?
He'd wet Lee. Bit of golden shower action, man.
No, good.
Wet Lee.
At least he wet himself if they went down, but he'll have some help. So, the fans, the majority of their players, I mean, they have the cunt per player percentage ratio for them is higher than any team in history, I think. Just the whole, I mean, the Stoke should just sink into the sea, into the ground, and just go away. And hopefully that'll start with their football club getting relegated. But as far as the actual game this weekend is concerned, I'm confident. I mean, we should have way too much firepower for them. It'd be great to see Lacazette back, although I'm sure he'll be a 70th minute sub on the bench because no one coming back from injury, save for Aaron Ramsey, ever actually starts. I mean, we're at home. We're against one of the worst teams in the league, and we're in a good run of form.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like the guy. It's like Joe Pesci walking into his ceremony in Goodfellas. I mean, thinking he's the top of the world, and then bang, he's dead.
I think we're going to win 3-1 though.
I hope I didn't spoil Goodfellas for anybody there.
So, Amanda, I thought you don't do predictions. What's going on?
I predict all the time now, and actually I've been quite right sometimes as well. Shock horror.
You've been getting
I know.
I actually
3-1 on Sunday.
I think 4-0. I think we'll absolutely destroy these motherfuckers. I really do. I think they have no chance.
All guns blasting, and they say all guns firing in the first few minutes. I'm with you, Chig. I think that could happen. But I personally think that 3-1.
3-1. Go on, Lee. What's your prediction? I know you just done your preview.
1-0 Stoke.
1-0 Stoke.
1-0 Stoke. Shut up, Lee.
I'm only playing. But no, well, we'll see how good the players are now. Listen, Iwobi was brilliant for Nigeria, as I'm sure you know, Chris. He was brilliant in the two games. I think they lost last night, didn't they? But
the first game, again,
he was really good. So, and I'll be honest with you, right? I said this last night to a couple of people. I don't think we should go with our full 11 for this game because we got CSKA next week.
I agree. That's the more important game. I agree with you.
Right. So for me, I'd play Rob Holding. I'd play Mertesacker. I'd actually make him work for his money.
Go on. What's your team? What's your team? People still watch your shit. What's your team?
I'd go with Ospina because I think he's going to play in midweek, so we might as well keep him fresh. I know he's come off the back of international duty. Keep him going. Yeah, so I
okay. So fuck Chet.
Yeah. Why is Chet going to play a league game? He's got his 200 clean sheet. You might as well retire now. Back the centre backs, I'd go with Mertesacker and Holding. Right back, we haven't really got anybody, so maybe chuck Reece Nelson in there, or maybe Maitland Niles. I don't know. But left back, Kolasinac, because he don't seem to get a game in a back four. Midfield.
You know, Kolasinac is injured.
I didn't.
He limped off yesterday.
Yeah.
I saw that story just before we started.
I thought I saw a picture of him at the Eiffel Tower recently. He didn't look like he was done.
He limped off just yesterday, literally just yesterday.
To be honest with you, Chris, obviously Aubameyang's going to start because he can't play in the... Which is another thing. Have you heard that rule's changed now?
Yeah, going forward.
Oh, is it changed now?
What's happened? Can you tell me?
The Europa League Cup tie. Yeah, obviously Dortmund dropped out of the Champions League into Europa League, yeah? So obviously Aubameyang was then signed by us. He couldn't play, could he? As of next season,
that's right.
That's not a rule anymore. They can play.
Next season.
Yeah. Next season, yeah.
Oh.
Well, that'll help us in the Europa League next season.
Why? We're not signing anyone. So it won't make any difference.
The thing is, I must admit, right? although I agree with that rule change because it was the biggest load of bollocks ever. It's the sort of rule Arsene Wenger would make up. Yeah? Do you know what I mean, right? But well, it is. Let's be honest, right? But for me, that could be quite dangerous, right? Because obviously, let's say we don't win the Europa, we're obviously qualified from the Europa by finishing runners-up in the Carling Cup, Carabao Cup, whatever it was called. Yeah. Obviously, we'll probably still get it through the league table as well. But let's say Aubameyang or Lacazette or any other player in our team starts smashing it up next season, but we're still floating around 4th, 5th in the table, but they're banging in a great season. A Champions League team or another Europa League team could come in. Obviously, Champions League makes no difference, but another Europa League team that maybe, say, sat top of their league, coasting their title, which means they're going to qualify for Champions League, they can come in with a stupid bid for one of our players and then use him in the Europa League. So it can work both ways, do you know what I mean? But I don't know.
Can I just ask you something, Lee? You said that we've already qualified for the Europa because of the Haribo Cup.
Yeah, because Man City have qualified for Champions League, we get their Europa.
I didn't know that.
About that.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the case.
Because I look, am I really?
Yeah.
So the thing is, though, so then it don't matter if we end up 15th, really, does it?
Well, and think about it, Amanda.
No, it does.
Amanda, think about it. At the supporters' trust meeting, they were talking about how important making Europa was going to be, and that was after the Carabao Cup final. So I don't know about that.
Yeah.
No, I think because
really?
Man City have qualified for the Champions League, that obviously you get a Europa League place by winning the Carabao Cup. Yeah. Hence why Southampton were in it this season. I think Southampton were in it at the start of the season, weren't they? Yeah, I got into a qualifier.
No, Everton were. Southampton wasn't. See, I don't think that's the case because they were talking about how we needed the £30 million from Europa and that we basically had to watch out.
I'm nailed on positive we've qualified already.
Right, well,
yeah, I must admit, I have heard what Lee's talking about before, but like very recently, like we've already qualified for the show.
I've not heard this, and that I said on our podcast on Monday night that CSK Moscow is far more important than Stoke, and he'll focus on that much more than he will on Sunday afternoon. He's got to, because
he should.
Yeah, but things have changed the way around, wouldn't it? So all I'm saying is that I think Lee's right. He won't play the full 11, the first 11. He won't.
Right, here we go. I've just Googled it while we're on this pod because that's how I roll. Yeah. Southampton, right? Southampton participated in the Europa League group stage last season because they finished runners-up to Man United in the League Cup. And they were in the group stage of the Europa League, Southampton, last season.
Group stage? Does that mean... Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the same as us. We were in the group stage, weren't we?
Okay.
So where did they finish in the group?
I'll have a look.
Do you know?
I'll have a quick look.
Just out of curiosity.
They didn't get into the elimination stage. I know that.
Yeah, they never qualified. But...
You only know last 32. Well, while Lee looks that up, Amanda, what would your team be to play Stoke?
Anyone but a Wobie.
You off your Wobie train as well.
Unless we let him play in green, because that's the only time he plays well.
I'm losing.
I actually feel. Do you know what? I'm being a bit facetious, but I actually feel sorry for him. I don't think it's his fault. Again, mismanagement. I can't even go there with this. Every time we get a very, very good prospect for years, they just don't prospect. You know what I mean? They just don't progress.
Yeah.
And you know what? I mean, I'm hearing amazing things, Nicholas Bentner. Amazing things over the months. Somebody was, in the reserves and everything. I honestly, I'm lost for words with our manager sometimes. I want to ask Lee a question. Lee?
Yeah, go on.
What are you going to moan about when Wenger goes?
Steve Cole, if he's still there.
Tuchel.
Yeah.
All of them with him.
Okay. If they all go with him, then I'll probably be moaning about Eddie Howe.
Oh, for God's sake.
No, to be honest, as soon as he goes, it's like a release, yeah? I've said this all season, right? I started going again this season because we signed Lacazette and I was so happy. I remember doing a show with Tom the day, or literally the hour we signed him, we did a live stream. Yeah, I was buzzing. I was like, right, I'm fully on it now. We've got a proper striker, so I'm going to go again. Yeah, right. And maybe I've jinxed this because we've been worse this season. But for me, after going for maybe a third of the season, it was like, oh mate, we're just going through the motions now. So when he goes, I don't think I'll have anything to moan about. which might be nice. You know what I mean? I might be sat on one of these shows going, oh yeah, I know we got spanked 6-0 at the weekend, but who cares?
Wenger's not there.
It's great.
Let me take us back a second. Because I think I've got the answer to the whole Europa League qualification. Because Manchester City won the Carabao Cup and is already going to qualify for Champions League, the extra Europa League spot goes to the next highest placed Premier League team that is not already qualified. It doesn't go to the loser of the cup final.
Okay.
So if Chelsea finishes fifth, Chelsea would get in the Europa League anyway, finishing fifth. If we finish seventh, then Burnley goes into the Europa League instead of us.
Okay.
That's why it's not solid yet. But I mean, look, let's win on Sunday, and Burnley can go into their slide, and we won't have to worry.
Can I ask all you guys a question? Do you want to qualify for it?
Yes. After what I heard at the Supporters Trust meeting, I do want to qualify for it.
I want to qualify regardless of what I heard. I want to qualify.
Have they
I want to qualify for Europe. Sorry, go on.
That's all right. That's all right. They basically said that we're not going to spend any money.
No, we need the money. Michael, explain it to you. But
they
need the money from the Europa League.
Yeah, it's like Amanda said. They kind of promoted a financial estimate situation, which I won't go too much into depth for, but I mean they were really talking about the impact of missing out on Champions League money for more than 1 year in a row on the transfer budget and the cash on hand, which is probably not just going to be completely spent all at one time. So, all of the projections for next season were based on the assumption of having at least Europa League money, which is still 30 million, whereas maybe Champions League money might be 60 or 70 million. And the picture was painted that it would be pretty dire straits from the ability to really sign too many players without having to offload your Ramseys and possibly some others in order to make room for them. I mean, you're basically trading players instead of adding players at that point. So, I'm halfway in between Amanda and what I said before, and that I like any opportunity to win. I know all those extra games can slow you down. I know what happened with Liverpool when they were completely out of Europe a couple seasons ago. But Liverpool has ownership, I think, that's willing to pour a little bit more money in than ours of their own. They're not necessarily purely a self-sustaining club, whereas we are. And so I've been saying for 2 years, if our income goes down, so will our expenses, and that's gonna be where we can slide into a mid-table malaise. So I think it's crucial that we make the Europa League next season.
Do you know what, Mike? Right? That's really interesting what you just said there, yeah? And it makes complete sense. Right? It makes complete sense. But the last little bit you said about if our income goes down, our income's actually gone up.
Well, in some ways it has. In some ways it hasn't. Maybe I should have said net income, because I'm talking about, and I'm not talking about net spend.
Like sound like Mo.
I'm not an accountant like Mo, but I mean, income has gone up, but expenses in the realm of player wages has gone way up.
Yeah.
230 million pounds, I think, this year. So, the net is what's shrinking when you don't get Champions League money, and God forbid don't get Europa League money, but you're still paying Ozil 350 grand a week, possibly paying Ramsey 200K a week, paying Aubameyang, paying Mkhitaryan.
Is that why they're nickel and diming on Jack Wilshere and not giving him clearly the money as well?
That's another topic altogether, but it's there's a cash crunch that's coming, especially if we don't make the Europa. So I think that's enough reason to root for it. And I wouldn't have had a chance to go to Milan and see the San Siro if we weren't in the Europa League this year. So I'll take it.
Do you know what?
Milan.
Milan.
I think the Europa League's been great. It's better than getting spanked by Bayern Munich and Barcelona, isn't it? So I mean,
why would you want to be in a competition that you can't win? We can never win the Champions League.
Yeah,
we could win the league. Quite exciting.
Yeah, it is until we get Atletico and get fucking raped.
Oh my God. Do you know what, Lee? You're going to sit with me one day, and you're going to end up Mr. Positive, okay?
Well, if not, I'll end up with a couple of black eyes where you've sparked me out.
That'll be his next vlog. No. Positively.
No, do you know what? Right, I kid you not. Yeah, half of the stuff I say is just for jokes, right? All season, I promise you now, yeah. All season, I've said I want to win the Europa League, yeah, and I've said since we played, I think it was Red Star Belgrade at the Emirates, which, funny enough, was the second time this season I see Arsene Wenger. And I told him, start playing Lacazette, otherwise you're going to ruin him and he'll leave. But that's a whole new story, right? While Ty was standing there having a 10-minute chat with him, I just muscled it like, move, Ty. But no, I've said since that Belgrade game, I think we will not fluke. Obviously, you've got to have some sort of element of luck of winning a European competition, but I do think we're going to win it. I really do. Yeah, okay. I think that I know that Atletico have got Sporting Lisbon, and everyone's going, oh yeah, that's a walk in the park. Let's not write Sporting Lisbon off yet. If they can somehow perform a miracle and get rid of Atletico, we're red hot favourites to win this competition. Yeah, Lazio are dangerous. I get that. Leipzig are dangerous. They got a top 4 striker. Yeah, that Timo Werner is a banger, mate, and I'll be shocked if he ain't in this league, in the Premier League next year. But I think that on any given day we can beat any team, and I ain't scared of Atletico. Yes, they got great players, but I think we can beat them. And I'd rather get them in a semi-final than play them in a final. Everyone goes, oh, I'd rather play them in a one-off game. I wouldn't, because if you lose that one-off game, you ain't got another game to recover. Yeah,
we do, and people might laugh at me when I say this because I can think of one high-profile semi-final defeat just off the top of my head. But generally, when we come across a big team in the semi-final, we do tend to do quite well. Generally, when you think about Man City last year, you think about this year when we had to get into the Carabao Cup final. I feel like we played Chelsea and really outplayed them. So
Wigan in the FA Cup a few years back.
Yes, hey, Wigan knocked out Man City. They knocked out Man City. So
barely getting by Reading with a botched job goal by
he just let it go under him.
Yeah. So I think you've got something in that when you say that about semi-final.
No, I honestly think that, Chris, right? Because I think that this team, yes, they can raise themselves for a one-off game, but let's have a look at the last one-off game we played against a quality team. We didn't turn up against City, yeah, and we were just like getting spanked left, right, and centre. And for me, if we're going to get Atletico, get them in the semi. Yeah, yes, they've got a great manager. Yes, they've got Griezmann. Yeah, they've got a wicked team, man. I watch Spanish football. People say, oh, he's too defensive, he's this and that. People get mixed up with good defending and being negative. Yeah. I watch Atletico quite a lot. They spank 3, 4, 5 goals past loads of teams, yeah? He can then switch it up and play the tactical defensive game against Madrid and against Barcelona, who they beat quite regular. Yeah, and you know, I think that if we get them, I think that the pace and movement of our team is something that could trouble them. And as long as we keep it tight, which we can, I think we could beat Atletico, but I'd rather get them in a semi, mate. Definitely. No way do I want them in the final.
No. But I'm with you a little bit on Sporting Lisbon. I think they could beat Atletico. I think there's a chance there.
People are sitting there laughing at us for saying that, but I agree.
No, anybody in this competition could beat anybody.
Anybody that's got this far.
People laugh at me anyway. I won't worry about it, whatever I say. I don't care. I can't bother. No, but I do. I've got this feeling that, you know, I'm not saying we're going to win the Europa. We've got a good chance. Depending how we play on Sunday, because of the international break, we were doing all right up to then. We had sort of 2 or 3 games we actually won, which was nice. This break has come at a point where it's not very good for us. So let's see what happens Sunday first.
Yeah, I agree. Mike, what team would you have playing against Stoke on Sunday?
I've never been good at team selection, but I would put Czech in. I mean, I believe in keeping the consistency of having a cup goalie and a Premier League goalie. So I would go with Czech so he can get his 201st shutout. Save a couple more penalties in this one off of Shaqiri and whoever else. Left back, we got to find a way of getting Maitland-Niles, or as Tom Canton calls him, Mainsley, into that squad, especially for a Premier League game where maybe he's not going to get the start in Europa on Thursday. He's either got to be on the left or the right. And if Kolasinac is hurt, and if we're planning on trying to kind of keep Nacho on ice until Thursday, then put him at the left wing back, or just the left back if you're doing a 4. Chambers and Mustafi in the middle. I guess I differ from Lee in that I definitely want to keep Koscielny out of there, but I'm not sure I want to go with the FA Cup pairing of Mertesacker and Holding in the middle. I'd like to keep one of the senior partnership in there, and that would be Mustafi. I think Chambers has really acquitted himself quite well in the last few weeks, enough to get a start against a team like Stoke. And then let Bellerin plug in on the right side and let him go. Lee's favorite guy. In the middle, if Jack's nicked up, and he didn't feature for England because he was a little hurt. So I'm assuming he's not going to be available on Sunday. I could be wrong about that.
Mike, they're saying he might be.
Yeah, I know. It might have been one of these mystery things that just keep you out of the national team, but I'm not counting on him for Sunday.
Now, if that was the World Cup, he wouldn't have been pulling out.
No, he certainly wouldn't have been pulling out. But
he'll be in the squad, in my opinion. I don't think he'll start, but he'll be in the squad.
Well, then put him on the bench and have Xhaka and El Neni in the middle. And then they're always going to play the guy that just signed the new contract.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah,
and a front 4 of Ozil, Mkhitaryan, Aubameyang, and take your pick between Iwobi and Welbeck. I mean, that's the weak spot that you'd like to see Lacazette in, but
I'd bin both of them and go with Reece Nelson.
Me too. And I'm a Iwobi fan, and I'd still say
he's not going to, though, is he?
No, he's not going to. I would do the same thing.
We can dream.
I would do the same thing, and I would put Lacazette in that spot, but he's not going to start Lacazette, so he'd be a good late sub and see what Laka and Aubameyang can do together in that final third of the game.
I'd love for long term, for the rest of the season, for Lacazette to just get a bit of game time on that left hand side. Let's see if these two guys can play together.
I mean, he'll lead the line on
really
Thursday,
like
right?
to see that. Say that again?
If he's healthy, he'll lead the line on Thursday.
I think so. I think you'll see him start. I know Welbeck's been on form, and I'm going to use that because, all right, he scored 2 goals. Did he do shit for England? No. So
didn't even play the second game. Did he play the second game?
I loved your preview of the second Milan game where you were cracking on Welbeck, and then he scores 2 goals. I was like, you should have pulled that one off of YouTube, maybe.
Well, for me, just to quickly go through my team before we wrap up.
Yeah, check.
My team would be Czech, Monreal, because I just think he's the best defender in the league. Fuck it, come at me. I said it. Best defender in the league.
Ballon de Nacho, man. He's our Ballon d'Or winner.
Him, Holding, Chambers, because I know it pisses off Lee whenever I pick Chambers. Fuck it, I'm playing him. Reece Nelson. Ainsley Maitland-Niles right back, just because I feel like if he practices that position a little bit more, who knows what we can get there.
Yeah, we can sell Hector to Juve.
Yep.
Oh.
150 million.
Xhaka and El Nene, because I agree with that. I quite like that combination. It makes Xhaka play a little bit better when he plays next to someone like El Nene. And then probably my 3 across. So Aubameyang up top. Fuck it. I'm going to go Iwobi on the left because I think Wenger will go for Iwobi on the left. Ozil in the middle. Mkhitaryan out right. I'm going for 4-0. Fuck it, we've got this. We're gonna do this. I hate using Robbie's lines. People say I look enough like him as it is, but we are gonna do this.
Well, are you Robbie's brother?
Apparently so. Yes, I get that.
Oh, you Robbie in disguise.
And in my mind, I'm just sat there thinking, "Oh, you're so hilariously original." Man, thank you. Yes, we are both black. Well done. Well observed. Split me.
Are they?
Anyway.
I could tell you a story about something that happened at the Tollington while I was there that involved that same dynamic, but I think it would make me look pretty bad, so I'll tell you what.
I think you need to be quiet if it involves anything to do with me.
Let's just say Brandon Tops knows what I'm talking about.
Like,
if we had time, I would so ask you right now.
Mike, did you think he was taller in real life? Did you think he'd be taller? I
Who?
thought he was going to be about 6 foot tall. He's tiny, man.
Who specifically?
Brandon.
Tops.
Oh, Brandon? I was so pissed at that point, I couldn't tell how tall or short he was.
I thought he'd be a lot taller than he was. Like, I met him at Nottingham Forest game.
But the second here, I'm gonna tell the story anyway. Go on, the Tollington late after the Milan the Milan game, and at that point, there's only a handful of people left in the pub. I think the ginger guy was there telling some stories, and I walk up to him and I'm like, I make the eye contact. I'm like, okay, I know that guy, and I walked up to him and was like, "What's up, Chig?" And I just completely got my YouTube superstars mixed up. It had nothing to do with the fact that you guys share anything. So
was that when you were pissed in the Tollington, Mike?
Which time? But yeah,
every time.
Yeah, that was after the Milan game. So
do you know what, Mike? Right. Well, I've only met you once. I can't even remember what game it was. Yeah.
Yeah, we were walking out of the Newcastle game.
That's it, Newcastle. When the superstar scored the identical goal to Zidane in the Champions League final, I remember.
Yep. I was with my son.
Yeah, I actually I came very close to singing "He's better than Zidane" and then realised, no, it sounds stupid.
From you, it would.
But to be fair, that goal was banging. That was a great goal. But that's the only time I've ever met you, Mike. Right? Yeah, and I must say, for somebody who lives so far away, your dedication to get into football matches in England, and Italy, Milan, yeah, fair play, man. Seriously, fair play. You either got a sugar daddy hiding somewhere, right? Yeah, or you've done all right for yourself to be able to afford to do all that, man. So fair play to you.
Well, someone needs to tell my family that because, this was some self-indulgence on this trip, and to get to see that many games. I saw 9 games in 18 days, including PSG.
Didn't you go to Germany? Didn't you go to Germany?
No, we went to Paris though. I saw PSG play.
That's it. Yeah.
It was just a great time, and I went with the family in December, and then on my own on this trip, and it was good to meet people I hadn't met before, even though I call some of them by the wrong names. And therefore appear to be racist. But
okay, I'll give you a quick little idea of what I do. Right, if I can't remember their name, I just call everybody mate.
I do that too.
Yeah.
You all right?
Okay, what's his name? I can't even remember who he is.
Is that what you called me mate the other day?
You're my social media mum.
I'm your mum on social media. I slap your wrist.
You're my PR, man.
I just call you Mandible.
I get called many different names.
Let's wrap this show up.
Wednesday, sat in your bedroom.
Look, Lee, you've always wanted to get in my bedroom, so don't you start. There's 3 of you were there.
Lee, make sure to share how your daughter likes the game on Sunday.
Yeah, man. Do you know what? She hasn't shut up about it, right? It's funny, yeah. I won't bore everyone to death for ages, but I'll quickly touch on it, right? I've been trying to get my daughter to go to a game for maybe, 18 months now.
Oh.
Yeah. Just saying to her, I'm going to take you to a game. And she sits there and goes, no, Dad, I don't want to go. Right? But she's one of these kids that you'll put a tune on in the car and she sits in the passenger seat in her little booster seat and all that. And I'll put a tune on and I'll grab hold of her hand and I'll start dancing in the car with her, waving around her. She's like, Dad, stop, you're embarrassing. Right? And I'll go to her, do you like this song? She'll be like, no. 2-3 days later, she'll go, Dad, do you remember that song we had on in the car?
Yeah, she doesn't know what she wants, but you can tell her.
What was the name of the song, Dad? And I'm like, why? She's like, I want to search it on YouTube. So I was like, I thought you didn't like that tune. Right. So when I said to her a couple of weeks ago, I said, right, I'm going to take you to a game. She's like, no. I was like, I don't even care whether you're kicking and screaming. I am dragging you to the Emirates. Yeah. She was like, my mum won't let me go. So I was like, right, I'm going to ring your mum. So I rang her mum, and her mum was like, it's going to all kick off. It's a football match. Do you think it's wise? I was like, fucking Tottenham away. It's Stoke at home. Yeah. So we sorted that out. Her mum was cool with it, and yeah, fair play. Yeah. And then she goes, yeah, but you haven't got me a ticket. So I was like, right. So I rang my guy. I was like, can you sort a ticket for Stoke? He was like, yeah, of course, done, dusted. So I was like, right, so your mum's agreed on it. I've got you a ticket. You're coming. She was like, oh, Dad, so annoying, Dad. I swear to God, right?
What if they don't let me do Arsenal fan TV after the game?
Do you know what? Right? Afterwards, I went out for the rest of the day or whatever that evening. Yeah. And when I come back, my girlfriend goes to me. She hasn't shut up. She wants a shirt. Yeah. She's excited. She's going, what am I going to wear to the game? Yeah. And it's like, she's been asking.
How old is she, Lee?
She's 8.
Oh, bless her. Get her into it now.
She's been asking me about the players, what are their names and all that. So yeah, I know that as soon as I get her to the game, she's going to be buzzing and she'll want to go again. So,
are you sitting with DT? Because is he going to scare
her? You might want to think about who you surround yourself with.
Do you know? Funny enough, I'm actually not. I'm not. I've got 2 tickets in 2 different blocks, but they're the same entrance. Yeah, so the same.
You'll be fine. I don't think you'll have a problem Sunday.
Yeah, so I'm just going to take her with me and get her to stand with me in where I'm standing. So yeah.
She's gonna say, Daddy, who's that nice old man that looks like Papa on the sideline? I love him.
No. Do you know what, right? I'll tell you a quick story. Yeah. My dad. Yeah, I swear to God, my dad is the spitting image of Steve Bold. Yeah, I swear, if you put them side by side, you'd think they're twins, right? Now when my little one was growing up, we used to watch a game, like the cup final against Hull City, right? We was round my mum and dad's house watching it. My daughter sat there and she's gone, Granddad, how comes you're sat here but you're on TV as well? Yeah, and he goes, it was recorded yesterday.
He didn't.
Yeah, for years, like since Hull, she thought he was Granddad. Do you know what I mean? It's like, so yeah, but
now, cherish it, Lee. You'll love taking her on Sunday.
Do you know what she does now? Is when we're sitting there watching a game on telly, like it doesn't matter what game it is. Yeah, she'll go, Dad, are they playing this game for real life right now? Yeah. No. So I said to her, when we get to the Emirates on Sunday, as soon as they kick off, I'm going to say, Savannah, you see this game now? They're playing it for real life.
Enjoy it because they get older. They turn into teenage daughters, and then they don't ever want to see you again. So
do you know what though? She's the most chilled out child, and fuck knows how with a dad like me because I'm just like.
Okay, Lee. 2 rules on Sunday: take loads of sweets and don't swear.
She's heard every single swear word in the book, Amanda. Yeah. But not once have I ever heard her say one because she knows the rules.
Do as I say, not as I do. I like it.
Yes.
Exactly. No, which is right. Even when I say to her, because I was trying to teach her some of the songs, yeah, I was like, "What do we think to Tottenham?" And she goes, "Swear word, Daddy."
Oh, that's good. All right.
Good, man.
Now I feel awful because my daughter was like 12 on a train in New York when they came here for the summer, and she just out of nowhere started leading that chant. With the real words, so.
Oh, I love it.
So who's the shitty dad now?
The thing is, Gooner Girls rule. We just know it.
Yeah, we can see that on your shirt right now.
Yeah, that's my Gooner Girl t-shirt. That's years ago, that one.
Chick's been trying to end this podcast for 10 minutes.
I was going to release it for you.
I know, and the weird thing is,
you don't need to go. This is the thing. So let you plug your stuff before you go. So Amanda, tell everyone where they can find you, particularly that banging podcast of yours.
Okay, they can often find me in my bedroom talking to you lot, but that probably won't happen again. Hi, girls. You can find me and the other girls, and yeah, it's going well. Enjoying it. And
good, honestly, good show.
I don't know, what am I, Princess Gooner or Gooner Girl? I can't remember on Twitter. Oh, Gooner Girl 1969. I forgot.
Gooner Girl 6969.
No, I'm Gooner Girl 1969 because I'm born in 1969. Thank you.
Jeez.
Oh,
go subscribe to that because it's honestly, especially check out the show they did with Sol Campbell.
Oh,
and then thank me later.
That was quality.
Thank me later after you did that.
That went everywhere. That was on
It did.
It was on Sky Sports. It was
Sky Sports, every paper, every TV station. We had DMs coming left, right, and centre for everything.
And I love hearing some of the behind-the-scenes stuff about that podcast that I'm not permitted to talk about. That was class.
Honestly, there's so much that goes on with our podcast. If we like this, if we had the edited bits and you listen to it, I'd be shot.
So High Heels, people, go subscribe to that. Mike, do you want to plug to everyone your podcast quickly?
Sure. Thank you. Thanks, Chig. We've been doing Gooners in USA for this is our second season. We do one just about every week, unless I'm off drunk in Europe somewhere for 3 weeks, like I just was. But you can find us on Twitter at Gooners in USA, or just go to GoonersInUSA.com. We have our website on there. My mate Andy and I do it together, and just been having a great time meeting people and talking about the club that we both love for some 30 odd years.
Oh, they're very good. Go and follow them. They really are good.
Like I said earlier, it wasn't a joke. It's legitimately one of the very first podcasts I started listening to. So
well, I love hearing that. We really thought we were starting it for about 5 or 10 of our friends to listen to, and it kind of caught steam. So we're excited about it.
Very, very enjoyable. It's my tube ride in. It's my tube ride into work, the podcast.
Nice.
I've still never had an invite, Mike. I'm wounded, bro.
Yeah, where's my invite at as well?
You should see the list of people that are waiting to get on. No, we generally have one guest on every week. If a guest, this past one was a little different. We had 4 people on to talk because it was an interlude pod, but so, and we don't have kind of the revolving cast of 3 or 4 of the same people. So it does take us a while to get some of the people we want to have on, but we have no intentions of stopping. So hang in there. We're looking forward to having you on.
Guys, I'm really sorry. I've got to go. Thank you so much for having me, Cheeks.
You're very welcome. Come back soon. I definitely will. Bye, Lee. Bye, Mike.
Bye, dear.
And, bye. Take care. And Lee, do you want to let everybody know a little bit about your podcast? Like they don't know, but let them know where they can find you.
Well, I don't actually do a podcast, Chris, but
I call it a podcast. Even if it's a 10-minute one, it's a podcast. All right?
It's not a podcast, it's a video upload.
Oh, okay.
Podcast is what we're doing now. We're on a podcast that I don't do. Do you know what? Eventually, I'll be straight up, right? Eventually, I do want to do podcasts. Yeah? But not yet. I'm not too sure about that.
You have to go through an intensive training program.
I can't imagine you interviewing, but I think you could adapt to it.
I think I quite enjoy being a guest. Yeah, so like trying to put questions to people without and then keeping my mouth shut, it's just never going to work. But I'm going to give it a blast, just not yet. But yeah, if you want to go and subscribe to my channel, it's Gunnerbang. Obviously, Gunner, Gunner, bang, all one word. I'm going to plug my Insta as I always do on here, because I want to build my Insta up as like 10,000 plus, because what I want to do is be able to link my videos to the swipe up feature on Instagram, and you can't do that because they're fuckers. Yeah, and you have to have 10,000 followers to have the swipe up option. Yeah, so I'm not far off 3,000, so I'm nearly a third of the way there. But yeah, go follow that as well, Lee Gunner 82. Same with my Twitter, Lee Gunner 82. And thanks for having me on again, man.
You're very welcome, man. Your family at this point.
And thanks for having me on too, Chick. It's been a pleasure.
Of course. In fact, my regret with you, Mike, is I've not had you on sooner. So I'm glad you come on. You've been brilliant today. As was Amanda, by the way, in case she's watching us back. And just sort out your internet, my dear. Sort out your internet.
Yeah.
And as for everybody that's joined us live to watch, thank you so much for listening. I never take any of you guys for granted. Absolutely crushed. Drop kicks. Samoan dropped the shit out of that like button for me.
Kick it like it's a Wobie.
Fuck it. Kick it like it's a Wobie. I appreciate every single time you guys do that. I got a lot of love for all of you, even my haters. Because I noticed they're growing out of nowhere.
Bro.
Yeah, I think. Do you know what I think it is? I think your haters are now leaking onto me, and I'm adopting them as haters now. Apparently,
it's cool. It's cool, man. Embrace the hate.
I'm gonna embrace the hate. Fuck
That's it.
I'm
Embrace it. Don't worry about it, mate. I'm just living life. Yeah, anyway, I'll let you wrap up now, man. We've been trying to wrap up for an hour.
No problem, man. We're out of here, people. Take care.
Wenger the
Peace.
fuck out.
And there you go.